In 1996, Richard Rosario was a 20-year-old father living in the Bronx, New York, when his life was turned upside down. He was arrested and charged with the murder of Jorge Collazo, a man who had been shot and killed in broad daylight. The murder shocked the local community, and police were under immense pressure to solve the case quickly. Unfortunately for Rosario, he became their target, even though he was hundreds of miles away in Florida at the time of the crime. The case against Rosario hinged almost entirely on the testimony of two eyewitnesses. Both claimed they had seen him flee the scene after the shooting. However, their identifications were based on brief and stressful encounters, raising serious questions about their reliability. Compounding the issue, police did not conduct a thorough investigation. They failed to follow up on Rosario's alibi, which would have cleared him from the start. Rosario had an airtight alibi. He was in Deltona, Florida, on the day of the murder. 13 people, including friends and acquaintances, were willing to testify that they had seen him in Florida. Despite this, his defense attorney failed to contact most of these witnesses or present their testimonies effectively in court.
My son was born on June 20th, 1996, and they're claiming that Richard killed someone on June 19th, 1996, which that's physically impossible because he was in my house when we were leaving for my wife to go to the hospital.
The jury never heard from the majority of them, and the ones who did testify were not given the attention they deserved. This critical failure of his defense left Rosario vulnerable to a wrongful conviction. During his trial, Rosario consistently maintained his innocence, but the system seemed stacked against him. The prosecution relied heavily on the eyewitness accounts, and without the support of his alibi witnesses, Rosario's defense was weak. After deliberating, the jury found him guilty of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison, even though no physical evidence linked him to the crime and his alibi was never thoroughly explored. Rosario entered prison a broken man, but he never gave up hope. He spent the next 2 decades fighting to prove his innocence. From behind bars, he wrote countless letters to legal organizations, journalists, and innocence projects, hoping someone would take notice of his case. Despite years of rejection, Rosario's determination never wavered. In 2015, Rosario's story finally gained traction when NBC's Dateline featured his case.
Here in New York today, a stunning development in a murder case NBC News has been following for nearly 3 years. A man.
The investigative report drew national attention, highlighting the serious flaws in his trial. Around the same time, the Exoneration Initiative, a non-profit organization dedicated to investigating wrongful convictions, took up his case. They uncovered significant evidence of ineffective legal counsel, including the failure to call crucial alibi witnesses.
The Bronx DA has recently sent investigators to Florida to speak with Rosario's alibi witnesses.
With the new evidence in hand, the Exoneration Initiative petitioned the court to review Rosario's case. In March 2016, after serving 20 long years in prison, a judge vacated his conviction, ruling that he had not received a fair trial. Rosario was released from prison, finally able to embrace his family and begin the process of rebuilding his life.
The courtroom, shackled.
Your Honor, I was going to ask if the cuffs can be taken off of him.
The cuffs are quickly removed. An attorney from Bronx DA Darcel Clark's office tells the judge they now believe Richard Rosario did not receive a fair trial.
We concede that the defendant did not receive effective assistance of counsel. We consent to the release of the defendant on his own recognizance.
While Rosario's exoneration was a major victory, it was also bittersweet. He had lost 2 decades of his life, years that could have been spent raising his children, pursuing a career, and living freely. The emotional toll on his family was immense. His children grew up without their father, and his parents aged without seeing their son free. But Rosario's fight for justice didn't end with his release.
Today, in a Bronx courtroom, as prosecutors tried to right the wrong and formally dismiss the murder case against him, Rosario did the unthinkable. He asked for the murder case against him to remain open until his name is cleared.
The public should know the truth. The families of the victims should have that clarity and that peace of mind that, you know, a murderer is not in the street and that their son received the justice that he deserved.
In 2018, he filed a civil lawsuit against the city of New York and several police officers, accusing them of misconduct and negligence. He argued that the police had rushed to judgment, ignored crucial evidence, and failed to properly investigate his alibi. His case highlighted systemic issues in the justice system, including the dangers of eyewitness misidentification and inadequate defense.
Well, before I took office, I met with the Exoneration Initiative about Mr. Rosario. And it came to my attention that they had an appeal and our answer was due. So before I did anything else on Mr. Rosario's case, I thought it was necessary to just do the preliminary steps of investigating the case or the allegations. He had an alibi defense that was never investigated.
In 2022, a jury awarded Rosario $5 million in damages, recognizing the severe harm caused by his wrongful conviction. This financial settlement, while significant, could never truly compensate for the lost years and the emotional trauma he endured. In 2023, a court further awarded his legal team $4 million in fees, underscoring the complexity and significance of the case. Rosario used his platform to advocate for criminal justice reform, becoming a vocal critic of the system that had failed him. He spoke at events, participated in panel discussions, and worked with organizations dedicated to preventing wrongful convictions.
If I had to spend every day of my life in prison to prove my innocence, I would have been prepared to do that.
His story served as a powerful reminder of the importance of thorough investigations, competent legal representation, and accountability within the justice system. Despite the hardships, Rosario focused on moving forward. He reconnected with his family, built a new life, and dedicated himself to helping others who had been wrongfully convicted. His resilience and determination inspired many, proving that even in the face of profound injustice, it is possible to find hope and redemption. Richard Rosario's story is one of heartbreak, resilience, and ultimately justice. Wrongfully convicted and robbed of 2 decades of his life, he emerged stronger, using his experience to shed light on the flaws in the criminal justice system. His journey serves as a testament to the human spirit's capacity to endure and the importance of fighting for truth and accountability. So what do you think about this case? Do you believe justice was truly served? Did the award of $5 million make up for Rosario's 20 years lost to incarceration? And what should society do to make sure that these kinds of injustices don't happen again? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video or found this story eye-opening, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.